whole point of the business plan review is not that it's an echo chamber for the CEO to share what he or she wants and everybody else just shakes their head up and down, yes sir, yes ma'am. The point of the business plan review is to bring all of the key leaders into the room every week and to talk about all the issues, the good, the bad, the ugly, and then to collectively make a decision and everybody be unified in the decision that you're making. And for the CEO, it's an opportunity for you to be challenged in a very constructive and professional way. And Greg, as you know, because you have the book in your hand right now, the book
It's not a very big book.
It's not a very big book. And as Alan and I were writing this, he said, Adam, it's too long. It's too many pages. It has to be communicated in a very simple way because the system, the operating system is so simple. And again, the book I think is maybe 80 pages. So this is something that you and your entire team of managers and leaders can read, in an hour or 2 hours.
Welcome to an Encore podcast presentation from Forbes Books at ForbesBooks.com.
Adam Witty is here. He's the founder and CEO at Advantage Forbes Books and BPR 360. We're going to talk about his new book with Alan Mullaly. Alan is the former CEO of Boeing Commercial Airplanes and Ford Motor Company. Alan's also the guy who did the miraculous turnaround of Ford Motor Company during the Great Recession. The book is called Relentless Implementation. Adam, welcome.
Right. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Adam, I don't want to shortchange you at all, but anytime I hear the name Alan Mullaly, I'm interested.
Yeah.
So how is it that you came to be writing a book with him?
He's far more interesting than me, isn't he?
Well, you're far more interesting as a result of having written a book with him. And you're interesting in your own right. But Alan, you have time. You'll reach that level of success. His success is unprecedented. So tell us about how the two of you came to write this book called Relentless Implementation.
Yeah, so I'll go back for just a minute to provide you the answer to this question. It was about 7 years ago. It was actually the fall of 2012. And I came upon a book that was written about Alan, which was titled American Icon, Alan Mullaly and the Fight to Save Ford Motor Company. And the topic was intriguing. I was a car lover. So I picked up the book and devoured it literally in 5 days. It was like a cliffhanger, a page turner. I just couldn't put it down.
And also a huge bestseller. So as you're saying this, an awful lot of people who are also in business have also read this book, both because it's a cliffhanger and because it has incredible business lessons in it.
Incredible business lessons. One of the great lessons that I took from the book was when Alan ran Boeing and then ran Ford, he had this thing called a business plan review, which was a weekly management meeting where they did a 360-degree comprehensive review of how the business was performing, and everything was color-coded red, yellow, or green. And I was really fascinated by this concept. And I thought, my business is just a speck of the size of Ford Motor Company, but wouldn't it be neat if I did something similar in my business? And
if it worked for Alan, it would probably work for me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so in January of 2013, I held my first business plan review. And since that time, it's been 7 years. Every single week, Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., we hold our weekly business plan review like clockwork for the last 7 years. So the first thing that you should know is I found this book about him. I loved the book, and I started implementing something that I led from the book.
Oh, by the way, let's mention that you are also a book publisher, a business book publisher. So books are very important to you, and you understand the value of them to others, especially business leaders.
Absolutely. And there were other pieces of the book, too, that some of which were just scratching the surface. So I then had to go online and do some research and see what I could find out about Alan Mullaly so I could learn more. And as the 7-year span unfolded further, we implemented more and more. So Alan had what he called the 11 principles and practices of working together. So we started implementing the 11 principles and practices of working together in our business. Fast forward to 2017, I had a chance opportunity to meet Alan Mullaly. In the few minutes we had together, I showed him all the things that we were doing and how I had learned so much from him. And he was really just kind of blown away at how we had put into action all the different things that he teaches. And he, by luck would have it, he was on a business trip to Charleston 2 weeks after we met.
Where you're located.
Which is where we're located. And he came and spent an afternoon with us at our office. And he saw everything that we were doing and just really fell in love with it. He said to me, Adam, hundreds of business owners approach me every single year to help them And so many business owners will tell me what they're doing that they learned from the book or what they learned online. I can tell you without a doubt, nobody's doing more and better than you. And he said, you should be an example for other business owners to follow. That was a humbling thing to hear from him. And so we built a friendship as a result of that. And we had started working on a software tool to make it easier for us to internally run our business plan review.
Now, had Alan ever had a software tool?
He did not. He was using Microsoft PowerPoint for his business plan review, both at Boeing and Ford. Now, granted, he had a team of people that could assemble that PowerPoint every week.
Yes.
And we did not have that luxury here.
Right.
But I showed him this tool and he really loved it. And I told him that I wanted to write a book to share with other business owners how we had implemented his teachings. Because as people would come through our office, they would see a lot of what we were doing and they'd say, well, how do I do this in my business? So, of course, I'm a publisher.
And also an entrepreneur. When someone starts asking about something, you think, oh, maybe there's a product there.
Right. And specifically, maybe a book.
Yes.
So I started working on this book and I showed him the book and he liked it so much, he said, I'd be interested in co-authoring this book with you.
So the title is Relentless Implementation. Why?
Alan will tell you in the 11 principles and practices of working together, principle number 3 is a compelling vision, a comprehensive strategy, and a relentless implementation plan. And if you look at Alan and what he did both at Boeing and Ford, yes, he helped create that compelling vision and that strategic plan. But the truth is, a lot of people can do that. The relentless implementation of every single day, every single week, every single month, having a very large team working on the most important things to move the business forward, that's hard to do, right? That's where typically things break down. That's typically where people fall short. And that's why the plans and the goals that most businesses have don't always get reached, because it's a breakdown in the implementation.
Yeah.
For me, at least, when I looked at all the 11 principles and practices, I said the most important is the relentless implementation. And if we could create and show other business owners how to create a system to help drive relentless implementation, that would make the biggest difference in business owners' lives.
It seems to me that you're actually describing something in 2 tiers. I can get the book, Relentless Implementation, and I can do this on my own.
Yep.
That's tier 1. That's what you did. Although I get spared, I'm sure, a lot of the pain and grief and failure that you and your team had getting started.
That's right.
Or there's this product you've created with Alan's blessing called BPR360.com, which will actually do even more of the work for me. But it seems like no matter where you are in your business, understanding this platform and how it works is going to be very, very important for you.
If you read the book Relentless Implementation and you're committed to improving the level of performance in your business, then one of the takeaways from the book is going to be you need to run a weekly business plan review. And if you want to do it the way that I did with Excel or PowerPoint or Google Slides, have at it. By all means.
And it may actually be a great place to start.
And it might be the right place for you to start. And if you want to remove some of the friction and make it easier, then the software tool that we've built, initially we built it just for ourselves.
Yeah.
And people saw it and said, wow, this is really cool. You should sell this to other businesses. Then BPR 360 could be a solution to facilitate your weekly business plan review.
Does the book, in a sense, become a bit of a handbook or a workbook for those using the online platform?
It is. It is. So if you visit our website, you can buy the book. And with that, there is a workbook that comes along with it. And in the workbook, we really help you think through all of the decisions that have to be made of what you're going to track and what you're going to measure so you can effectively run your very first business plan review. Relentless Implementation, the book, is really in and of itself a field guide.
Yes.
And then the playbook that goes with it is a way for you to think through all the key decisions you have to make so you're ready to run your first weekly business plan review.
So when you started this, how did you know what to look at? I'm not a CEO, you are. Mm-hmm. Maybe that was easy for you. Maybe it was hard. either way, I'm really curious to know how you knew and how much evolution has there been.
Yeah, there's been a lot of evolution. The things that we track today are far more diverse and I think far more representative of the key drivers of the business than the things that we tracked at the very beginning.
Is that actually one of the benefits, though, of doing a BPR every week, is that you start with what you start with and the evolution itself is of great value to the company?
Correct. There is no wrong place to start. Anybody that says I'm not ready, well, that's baloney, because just start doing it,
yes.
right? And then the evolution's going to quickly start happening. But if you tell yourself the story, oh, well, I'm not ready for this, but in 6 months I will be, well, that's a farce, right? You just have to start doing it. The one takeaway that I saw, and I think this is true with most businesses, especially small and medium-sized businesses, is most of the things we track are what you would call a lagging indicator. And the most successful businesses probably spend more time looking at leading indicators than lagging indicators.
Because they want to know what's the future hold for us, not what just happened.
Correct. And the leading indicator you can control. The lagging indicator you really can't control.
Yes.
Right? So the big evolution for me, and I think we've seen other business owners experience the same thing as they've started doing a weekly business plan review, is you get much smarter about putting your focus on key leading indicators versus lagging indicators.
I would imagine in a scenario where perhaps you share the book with others on your team, on your leadership team,
that's right,
or you roll the platform out with your leadership team, I would imagine that there's such incredible learning when you begin to get their insights as well. It must actually make you or enable you or empower you to be a much better leader because everyone's so tightly aligned with you instead of everyone having their own view of what's happening inside the company.
Well, so that's the whole point of the business plan review. The whole point of the business plan review is not that it's an echo chamber for the CEO to share what he or she wants and everybody else just shakes their head up and down, yes sir, yes ma'am. The point of the business plan review is to bring all of the key leaders into the room every week and to talk about all the issues, the good, the bad, the ugly, and then to collectively make a decision and everybody be unified in the decision that you're making. And for the CEO, it's an opportunity for you to be challenged in a very constructive and professional way. But it's a way
based on data, because you're all looking at a board full of data.
Correct. It's a way for everybody to be challenged.
Yes.
There's a great saying that Alan has that is very much a part of business plan review and relentless implementation, and that is the data will set you free. And I like to say, if we're going to go with opinions, we'll go with mine. But if we're going to go with the facts and data, then let's go with the facts and data.
Yes.
Right? And that's really what this is all about. It's about turning your business from being something where you're making gut decisions and impulse decisions to making everything about what the facts and data are telling you in the business.
He's Adam Witty. He's the founder and CEO at Advantage ForbesBooks. This new venture is BPR 360. It's at bpr360.com. The book, which he wrote with Alan Mullaly, and I suspect you would say that BPR 360's, it's really Alan's brainchild that
Absolutely.
You've built together as
Absolutely.
partners. And the same, I suspect, is true of the book. The book is called Relentless Implementation, Creating Clarity, Alignment, and a Working Together Operating System to Maximize Your Business Performance. You can get the book at bpr360.com/book. And not only can you get the book, but I think there's also a place there where you can sign up for a demo. So if you go to BPR 360 and you're already interested, sign up for a demo. If you want to know more, go to bpr360.com/book, get the book. But I mean, you've really painted a very compelling and exciting picture of frankly, just a better way to manage a business and manage team.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, systems and processes and the working together operating system, which is really what Alan pioneered at Boeing and then he brought to Ford. The working together operating system, which is what the book Relentless Implementation is all about, is a system that will not fail you. It's a system that works for any business of any size in any industry. And when you have an operating system for your business, your ability to reliably produce results, to reliably scale up and grow becomes a whole lot easier. And Greg, as you know, know, because you have the book in your hand right now, the book
It's not a very big book.
It's not a very big book. And as Alan and I were writing this, he said, Adam, it's too long. It's too many pages. And I was like, Alan, it's not that many pages. And he's like, no. It has to be communicated in a very simple way because the operating system is so simple.
Yes.
And so we worked very hard. We edited it multiple times to ensure that the product that you see is as simple as possible. And again, the book I think is maybe 80 pages. So this is something that you and your entire team of managers and leaders can read, in an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to make one last point because I think it's really interesting to contrast your experience as a CEO with Alan's. Alan was the CEO of Boeing and then Ford Motor Company, a miraculous turnaround during the Great Recession. And you've done incredible things building your company, Advantage ForbesBooks. The range between those two companies is so vast. I think the takeaway really is no matter how big or small your company is, this is something you should take a look at. So the book's at bpr360.com/book. The product itself or the platform, bpr360.com. Adam, thanks so much for joining us.
Greg, what a great pleasure and a lot of fun.
Thank you for listening to this Encore podcast presentation from Forbes Books at ForbesBooks.com.